Welcome, everyone, to the Pizza Roundtable, part of the Pizza Club Network, where we host some of your favorite pizza personalities from all around the world. You're here with us today, like I said, for Pizza Roundtable, where we're going to talk about some of the biggest pizza news of the week. I'm your host, Will Dumas, and today I'm joined by my guest host, Sean Jafarjian. Sean is the owner and operator of A Slice of New York out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Sean, what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
What's going on, Will? Thanks for having me on tonight. I'm looking forward to this.
Absolutely, man. So am I, dude. I think we've got some stuff to talk about tonight that's going to be kind of right up your alley, my man, for that part, for sure. But listen, man, for anyone that doesn't know you, give us a little bit of background, just kind of your pizza journey, Sean, in general, kind of, maybe where you're from for a bit and where you're operating out of now, and tell us a little bit about your shop.
Yeah, sure. So we were, one of those COVID baby pizza shops that, I worked in corporate America for the last decade plus. And then middle of COVID, I'm stuck at home for the first time in a long time and decided to start playing around with pizza. A few months went by. I just started buying equipment. Before I knew it, I had a garage full of equipment. A couple months later, had a pizza shop, and now we're 3 years in. We're on our second location, bigger location, and just organically just seeing where this thing takes us. So it's been a wild little ride and a fun ride, to say the least.
Damn, man, that is awesome. I love that. Any food experience though beforehand, or just we're like, hey, I'm getting into this. I love food. I'm going with it, or any kind of experience beforehand.
Prior to was about 23 years ago, when I was like in my late teens, early 20s. I worked for some friends that owned a pizza shop for a couple of years, but never really super got into it. And then just, I went on just this other path in life, and then kind of came back to it just because of the pandemic.
Nice, man. Why pizza? Like, what particularly drew you into pizza over another food or cuisine
Yeah.
or whatever, man? I've owned anything else.
Well, I've always been a diehard of a pizza guy, but coming from, growing up in New York City and New Jersey and then moving to Pittsburgh, where the pizza is drastically different, there was always this pain and this struggle to find something that I could eat here that was reminiscent of what I grew up on. And, again, during the pandemic, I just said, screw it, because the closest thing I had was a half an hour away to get a decent pizza. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it myself. And then it just kind of snowballed. And so it was a lot of experimentation. I have a lot of mentors. I have a lot of, idols that help me out. So if it wasn't for the help of others, it takes a village to raise a child, right? It was definitely a village that helped get me there.
I know that's cool, man. I will say, whenever we're chatting with people too, and you're part of the club in general here, right? Like the pizza community in general is just amazing, is what we've seen, just to help others out. Like if you want to get started, you
Yeah.
got a question, like no better place to get involved and seek
Yeah.
help than this community on its own, for sure.
Well, and people think that everybody's a competitor, and it's not. Everybody's friends, and it's amazing.
No, I love it. I love it, man. That's a good point. It's a really good point to highlight, actually. Like when you think about it, all kind of maybe other businesses and whatnot, it's like, oh man, this guy's doing that. Like here, it's more like, hey, what are you doing? How do I do that? How can I get better at it? Totally
Yeah.
different perspective.
And there's some cutthroat things
Of
here and there,
course.
but it's so few and far between compared to other industries.
No, I like it. And listen, just for reference for everyone, I don't know if the name per se is leading, but give everyone a sense of the style of pizza that you do or love out of your shop.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously we do New York style pizzas. I actually don't even like to call it New York style. I like to say that we're delivering authentic New York pizzas, but we're doing a very modern artisanal version of it. So, like, we're doing sourdough. We get very nerdy with our ingredients, and so we're doing just a high level version of a New York pie.
I love it. All right. Is this one of those like 1,000 year starters, dude, that like people are building nowadays, or what does yours look like?
Maybe one day. I mean, our starter was actually gifted to me by a friend who just started playing around with bread,
Nice.
and it's probably about six, because we just switched to sourdough, so it's probably about 6 months old at this point. But it's my son's employee. He spends 15 minutes a day with bread shearing, and just make sure that the culture is doing well and it's growing and it's doing its thing. But so far, so good.
All right, I love it. Well, listen, I think we'll definitely be able to touch a little bit more about like your style of pizza and maybe some of the things that we're seeing out there. And I think let's kick the articles off. So I want to get some of your perspective.
Yeah.
There's a lot of happening this week, and I think particularly this first article that I'm going to share up here, which is from PMQ, is going to be perfect because I think you particularly are someone that's caught a little bit of media attention as of lately. So this one out of PMQ, guys. How to earn media coverage for your pizzeria. Unless you're already well established in the market, the media probably won't come to you, so you'll have to reach out to them. So, Sean, let's start there in general. What do we think about getting media coverage for your pizzeria? And then I'll quickly go through some of these, but just like in general, is it as big of a challenge that everyone still thinks of it is, or is it easier nowadays with like the social aspect?
Sure. I mean, I definitely think that social media plays a big part in getting attention. For us, it was the first time we were ever talked about on the news was because of our social media. So I think if one is to start from scratch, I think you really have to start with growing the social media following first and then let that organically get itself out there. But for us, that was a huge part of it. Like our social media got us on the news for the first time. And then after that, then we just started fostering a relationship with the first network that aired us. So now we have a little bit of a relationship and we do stuff with them fairly regularly. And then even recently we're doing stuff with a new local news network that we've officially gotten on their radar. So we've been
Nice.
very fortunate in that regard.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, listen, let's talk through these couple that PMQ highlighted here, and then kind of get you to opine a bit on them. So first, kind
Yeah.
of like you're alluding to here, number one, know your story and be ready to tell it. Um, Number two, establish relationships with local journalists. Ding, ding, ding. Exactly
Yep.
there. Number three, offer to go live. Number four, leverage social media to attract the news media. Number five, create pizza making contests for civic leaders. I thought this one was pretty interesting, actually.
I like that one.
Yeah, that was cool. And then finally, six, what about a contest for local news personalities? So,
I love it.
what do we think about some of these?
Yeah, I've actually seen some of that actually happen, and not from us, but just from other local pizza shops that gotten involved with like a local morning show. I have another friend who goes on one particular news outlet, and he does cook. He's got a little uni volt that he brings with him,
Ooh,
and
nice.
actually Christy from Real Clever Food, she's actually the one that got him hooked up with the oven.
Perfect. The pizza community. There we
Yeah,
go.
so he uses that like once a month on television now, using the Univolt. So yeah, so if you can get on with doing like a live cooking session on the air, and also have the willingness to do it, but also be able to pull it off live and not make an idiot of yourself, because it's very easy to do that too. So this person just seems to, obviously just has a ton of charisma and is really good on television and can make a pizza very quickly on the Volt. But
I
that's
like
key.
it. How important do you think kind of the idea of like, I think the first item that they highlighted here of knowing your story and being able to tell it? I think like that personal connection we certainly see like really come through. And like if you can deliver that actually through social media, I mean, that's so impactful.
Yeah. I think that's where for us too, like in the Pittsburgh market, is the new wave of pizza shops where people are caring about the pizza just on a deeper level
Yep.
is still fairly new here. So it's nice to kind of be at the beginning of that here. So because of that, we were able to get some attention much quicker. And there's a circle of pizza friends here in Pittsburgh, and there's probably about 15 to 20 of us that just take pizza serious on another level. And people now know of this group of like, this is the group that is just taking things to the next level. And then they share with each other also. So it's not just the social media and us sharing with each other. Once the news is involved, they share with each other as well. And then it just
Yeah, no, it
spreads.
goes from there. Do you think in that idea of like, I don't know if I'm using the word like artisanal to think about it or having that kind of community, does pizza get the credit it deserves at that level yet? Are we moving there, or will we never get there? Is it like the alluring thing you drive for and are like, man, where's what pizza can be, in that respect?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't know where in the country. Where in the country are you, Will?
I'm New York. I'm out of New York now. I'm in Charlotte, but New York for forever before.
Yeah. So and again, I mean, New York City, obviously everybody's after the artisanal stuff,
Yeah.
but in areas like Charlotte and Pittsburgh, which are probably very similar, again, it's really just starting to pop. But I think, but what it becomes is a re-education to a very regimented group of, pizza customers. So where we have a little bit of a challenge is educating people on what artisanal pizza is, why it's better for you, why it's healthier for you, why it tastes better. And with that comes a lot of truth telling, and nobody likes a truth teller, so people don't like to hear that what they've been eating is bad for you and things like that. So it's this whole re-education process. But again, circling back to media and things like that, the more media attention we get, the more that gives us a platform to educate customers so that they
Yeah.
start to understand versus fight the fact that there is a new wave.
No, I like it. Well said, Sean. In that respect, can we look for any contests then upcoming with you? If you're gonna create a pizza making contest for your civic leaders or for local news personalities, can we get like the Pittsburgh community of like civic people all together to do a contest?
Yeah.
Man?
You know what I would love to do is when we relaunched this one Sicilian pizza that we had, we weighed it out. It was a 7-pound pizza, and I would love to get like local, news people involved and do like a pizza eating
Eating
contest.
contest.
And if somebody could finish it in like 30 minutes, 7 pounds of pizza, I don't know, maybe we'll give them like $500 or something like that.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. I love it. It's so cool. I mean, listen, we've covered a lot of like pizza eating things on here too, and they're always some of them are I'm always like, but some of them that are like really get engagement are cool. I can really get behind it.
We
Listen,
did a contest in our store actually where we took all the employees that don't work in the kitchen and had them make a pizza and did like a
ooh,
contest, but then we had all of the social media vote on which one was the best. It was actually really cool,
ooh,
and it was and it
nice.
was and it was super engaging.
Dude, that's awesome. I was like, what I've seen a lot across like social media too is like if someone's bringing like front of the house to the back of the house and then like seeing what they can prepare, I think are always like
Yeah,
pretty interesting videos. And I'm only saying that because I want to pivot for 1 second to like the last kind of part about this article where they're saying, leverage social media to attract news media attention. I'll
yeah.
note the news media side, but I also think it's important to attract like individual consumers, which I think is something that you're pretty skilled at. So I'd love for you just to kind of talk for a minute around that, maybe some of the success that you've seen there for you guys as well.
Yeah, I mean, it all started with the goal that the first year was to just gain followers. So through that, it was a weird path to get where we got to. We would create controversy, and we would create controversy that would basically split people into two groups, right? There was lovers and there was haters. And what we found was that the haters did a lot more work for us spreading the word. So then because I'm a data nerd coming from my corporate background, like I was a data guy.
Yeah.
So when I started looking into that data, then I started to create hate. So I would create these controversial things that I knew we were going to get trolled hard on. And people were just going to, I'm not going to use profanity. They were going to complain, blank and complain, all over social media. And they did. And that just spread like wildfire. And that's where, like, at least for Facebook, which drives our business the most, that's where we saw the biggest increase. Now, I don't do it so much anymore, but every 6 months I'll throw something out there just to, because people now what happens is people are like, oh, you're not controversial anymore. What happened? And I'm like,
Fair.
but it's also now that because of that, we've gotten so much media attention, I feel like I have to behave, a little bit more. So every now and then I give the core fans, what they want.
You gotta give the people what they wanted sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I say it playfully, but I mean, like, if you get haters, like, you're doing something right? Like, you're getting attention, so people are talking about it in that respect.
And that was the start of it. And through that again, that's how we got the following, which eventually got us on TV, which eventually, just snowballed.
Dude, you've got such a good story with it, man. I love it. So I think this article was perfect for you, my friend. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Will.
Well, listen, let's pivot a little bit to thinking as we're talking artisanal, right? To kind of, you're talking about a little community that you have here. Let me share this next article out of Yahoo Life, which is an article they featured out of Tasting Table. This one talks a little bit about maybe characteristics of pizza. And I'll say, man, like you say burnt, I say charred. So I'd love to get your thoughts kind of around this and that. This one, like I said, from Tasting Table, from Sour Kilneck, why you shouldn't resist charred pizza crust according to an expert. So, Sean, I'll scroll through a couple of these photos while we're chatting around this one. But in general, do you get complaints for charred or burnt pizza? And I know distinctively maybe it's not per se for New York, but some of the other kind of unique artisanal styles that are coming out now, we're looking for a bit of dark brown likeness to some of that stuff. So, I mean, what are your thoughts around it?
I mean, we cook our pizzas, so
Okay.
if we see some char and char bubbles, like we are pro char. And it's funny because I think I mentioned to you earlier about a thing that we recently filmed with our local ABC affiliate. I was pulling a pizza out of the oven during the filming of that, and there was some char. And then I kind of went into that and explained it a little bit. Like, this isn't burnt, right? This is charred, but also had to explain why it's charred.
Sure.
And Pittsburgh, again, is used to a very thick, doughy crust. So if that gets burnt or charred, it is burnt. Where something that's light and airy is going to get charred because it's almost hollow inside, so those outer areas are going to get darker. So we're very, very pro char. If I see char somewhere, I'm all for it. But I also know that with certain types of pizza, if I do see that, it's probably burnt, but it has to be the right kind of pizza in order to be able to handle char, if that makes any sense.
No, that's fair, totally. And so I'll highlight here from Sour in the article said, first off, it's important to remember there's a fundamental difference between burnt and charred pizza. So to your point, so that you brought up, she also highlights in here the idea some of the ingredients, right, might particularly lead to that, right, depending if you're using sugar, perhaps like in your dough, right, as well. Some of the styles fundamentally, I would say, like require some char, or at least it's not even only acceptable, it's encouraged, right? From as you're speaking to there, but then also I think some maybe from the mistake kind of component, one of the items that I highlight here, neglecting to bring your pizza dough up to temperature before baking can cause burning too. So I mean, there are definitely some of those mistakes, right, that you're highlighting. Mistakes is a strong word, but right, but some of those processes maybe that you you came a little short on that can lead that way as well.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. But I'm very I like the char. If I see one piece that has like a big char bubble, like that's the piece I'm going for first.
Do you ever get that kind of feedback from people that I think they kind of noted in here about like eating charred pizza could be bad for your health? I don't know if you get some of those notices, some of those complaints.
Yeah, I mean, we focus a lot on food health, in our spot, but I never looked at char. I mean, I guess you could say that there's carcinogens, but you could say that about cooked pepperonis. Got even uncooked pepperoni can have carcinogens in it. So I wouldn't. I'm no necessary health expert, but I don't think I could say that a charred pizza is more or less healthy for you. I think it's probably about the same. What do you think?
I'm with you there. This is not the concern of mine if I'm going out and having pizza in any sort of way at my house or anywhere else. I'm not holding off because I'm like, I'm very conscious right now of that extra jar on there might do for me. Dude, it just makes me chuckle a little bit. All right, cool. Well, listen, I can appreciate that. I think this was a fun one to think about. But do you
like the other thing? It just requires re-education and to different demographics.
I was just going to say that. Do you get pushback, kind of around that of people being like, even not just charred, but maybe just more so to your style that you're doing, or the idea of like the appeal to it? Maybe it's a bit more expensive. Like, I mean, you definitely put a lot more time and labor and love into it. But just kind of educating that community is tough. I can only imagine from an operator perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's rare that somebody would like complain about something, but it does happen, and then we just explain to them like, hey, listen, that's not burnt.
Right. Listen, we're looking for this. I'm trying. I got these guys back there. We're trying for this.
And I'm like, hey, I'm like, eat it first and then come back to me and tell me what you think. And then usually they're fine.
That's a fair point. Good one to go with. All right, let's talk some fun pizza items that popped up this week as well. I think there's, I don't know. Listen, we'll get your take on how you feel about chain pizza or pizzas like that. I've got a good idea, and I will say, from at least my perspective here in the club, I think there's a place for all pizza. Sort of that's a late night pizza that you're having, or you grew up with some nostalgia from a big box kind of pizza, like all pizza, in my opinion, has a place. Some are definitely better than others. That's my personal opinion. But to that point, this one coming out of Domino's, and it's coming up this week. In the box thinking led to the new Pizza Hut giveaway. So Pizza Hut is running a refill promotion next week and giving away more than 50,000 pizzas. Although the campaign is BYOB, bring your own box. So the premise behind this promo in general is if you bring in a pizza box, does not matter if it's a Pizza Hut box or a competitor's box, you are going to get a free pie. I think they're testing out this new light and handcrafted crust idea. And sorry, this article is out of the message as well from the site. So
it's interesting.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think about that? Oh, give me your thoughts initially first. Big box pizza in general. Does it have a place in your heart or not? Should you grow up on it? All right, cool.
I mean, I remember. I mean, even growing up in the Bronx, I remember when the first Domino's opened in our neighborhood, and it was like, and we had some of the best pizza in the country, like right around the block, and we were all flocking to Domino's. So it wasn't that long ago that my wife was out of town for a couple of days for one of my daughter's golf tournaments, and it was just my son and I. And sometimes we get sick of eating our own food, and I was like, you know what, let's go ham on some Domino's, and we did. I mean, we felt like crap for the next 3 days, but. So I love cool. big box pizza for sure.
All right, cool. What do you think about this? What do you think about the promo idea? And I'll compare it just because like we've been talking about a lot of promos lately, particularly from I think one of the bigger ones was Domino's, which has this like give away 1 million pizza idea recently. Whether you are doing whether it's like an emergency pizza, right? As long as you get on their mailing list, you sign up, you have an account for Domino's, you can get 1 free medium pizza to give away. They're giving away 1 million of them if you're in need of an emergency pizza, your dinner burn, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know if this Pizza Hut trying to catch up, but like this idea of it being like bring in the competitor's box, doesn't matter, like we'll give you.
I think it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And not only is it brilliant, but it's also servicing, people that need it, right? Because there's a lot of people right now that are struggling and they're not doing well, right? So if there's an opportunity that I can save this box and I know I'm going to get a free meal next week, by bringing this box in, right? That's helping a lot of people, so not only is it brilliant, but they're going to get a lot of positive, result out of it just from helping, the needy community that's out there that, maybe couldn't afford that next pizza that next week. So absolutely brilliant from all.
I'm with you. I think there's always really interesting plays that some of these guys do, and I think it's interesting to see. I don't know. I mean, this is my personal critique of it. Pizza Hut's taking a step back versus like Domino's really being out there and pushing a lot of promos. I mean, I know I'm old school in my Pizza Hut appeal. I'm thinking like I'm going back to the restaurant. Like the pizza I thought was good in the big red cups. Like I'm sitting down. Yeah. I'm reading my book. I'm getting my little pan pizza as a kid. That kind of style.
We still have a few of those here in Pittsburgh that are still floating around.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah, I think there's like 1 or 2 like eat-in Pizza Huts left. And if I get the opportunity, like I'm going. Like
Pizza Hut buffet holds like a special place in my heart. I will say.
Salad bar.
Yeah.
With the little flies everywhere. It's the best.
All right, well, listen. Let's keep talking about some of the I think big box items that I think are just popping up because I think pizza has just been so mainstream, and one of the big ones that I think kind of came up probably late last year when we first were talking about them was Little Caesars. Now, they were definitely someone that, in my personal opinion, I was never really seeing them. Wasn't a big play for me. They got a big NFL contract, right? It became like the official pizza of the NFL. I think that was for the last season. Now this season as well, they are again. This one I caught on tape and I thought this was classic. And this one's off of Fox Sports. So this is Russell Wilson's Pizza Audible goes viral as Broncos defeat the Browns. So literally like Russell Wilson is in the huddle. He's saying pizza, like instead of like hut hike and like calling a play off of it. And it really caught media attention. So I don't know, man. I think it's somewhat playful, but like, what do you think about the idea of some of this like branding from the sports side? And like, I don't know, is there an opportunity to like catch these moments where like someone can get like, can I pay a QB like to shout my own name out there for something as well? Like, where do we go with this? Is there a social media appeal to this from a brand too? What do you think?
I mean, now I didn't read the whole article. I just kind of skimmed. Now, like, did he? was he just yelling pizza, pizza, and Little Caesars got the attention, or do you
Yes,
think it
yes.
was?
That's
Okay.
no. So like that's the
Yeah.
thing though. I think it could go either way. Like it could have been like he was yelling it to like call him out. Like or could there be money behind it? Like this is like I don't know.
Guaranteed, guaranteed. There's money behind it. Nothing like that happens by accident. So I fully believe that Little Caesars probably paid him to do that, and then they used it as an opportunity to take it to go viral, which is even more brilliant than the Domino's thing or the pizza
Yeah.
thing. Like it's because you have to think those steps down the road, and hey, what can I do to get this person to say this, and then how can I then take that and then
Right.
run with it. So
And the
brilliant.
particular thing about it, which is like what really caught my attention, was like it's not just like it was like me on social. It was Russell Wilson on social later on. Like this was in game. Like you know what I mean? Like captured.
Awesome.
Like that's just I've never seen something like that before, and so I'm intrigued if it catches even more attention of others like thinking the same way. Like is there a sponsorship component behind this? Is there something to it? Is there something more than just him trying to throw them off?
Oh, and there's so many creative ways now that you can do that. I mean, I remember, gosh, now this was just a promo for a movie, but I remember watching a Met game. Yeah, I'm a Mets guy. Sorry for any Yankee fans out there. But I was watching a Met game. It wasn't this past season. It was the season before. When they really blew up right before the playoffs. But there was this game where there were these people in the audience that were just had these like weird faces like that they were making. And then it was so distracting, you could tell to the pitchers, because all they would see is this weird faced person behind home plate. And then it turned out like after the game, all of a sudden, all these ads for this movie that had to do with that came out. So it was just another one of these viral marketing, but they bought the seats right behind home plate to be able to they were literally like sitting there like possessed people, like in the background. And so it's kind of that same kind of thing. So it could be the start of a trend of something we might see more of in the future, I think.
Yeah, well, listen. Speaking to that point, I know this like slogan is Little Caesars, but in this one's off of Sports Business. Pizza Pizza replaces TikTok on Toronto Maple Leafs helmets. So the Toronto-based pizza chain Pizza Pizza has taken over the home helmet sponsorship rights to the NHL's Toronto Maple Leafs from social media platform TikTok. So same kind of idea. And I actually didn't know there was a Pizza as a pizza place. I don't know how they got that through.
Yeah, so I've actually seen them before. So they operate identical to Little Caesars, but they were actually Portnoy actually reviewed them once when he was in Canada, I think, and because actually it's funny because it just popped up a couple of days ago on my feed because in our pizza shop we just play Portnoy reviews on loop all day long, to try to summon him in.
Is that the turntables faster or actually get it in? Like, what are you looking for that from people?
Yeah, it's just fun to have on there. People like to watch. And again, it's about re-educating the customer. Yeah. So people are actually seeing real pizza, but that one came on the other day. And I remember seeing the name Pizza Pizza. And I'm like, I wonder if that's a Canadian variation of Little Caesars. And if it is, Caesars is on fire.
Yeah.
But if it's not, I mean, it's still amazing marketing.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I thought that one was. I literally, when I was reading at first, I was like, oh man, Little Caesars all over the place, and I was like, wait, how do they get Pizza as their name as well? I just felt like that was.
Or Canada got it like with the trademark law, or maybe we can get David back on to tell us about the trademark law with that.
Absolutely. All right, listen, I got two quick ones more. Let's finally wrap up with let's wrap up the category of big box chain pizzas with this one. This one is out of I don't even know what I'm trying to think of what publication this was. It just caught my attention because like I'm familiar with this one. This was out of harddrive.net. Sbarro voted best pizza for people already at the mall for GameStop reasons. And obviously this is quite an interesting play off of it in general. But Bridgewater, New Jersey, Sbarro has again been voted best pizza for people already at a mall for GameStop reasons by the readers of the food blog Pizza Perlatives. So this one caught my attention. What do we think about Sbarro in general? Did you grow up in the mall space, Sean, with a Sbarro at all?
And later on, so like I spent like the first part of my life in the Bronx, but then we moved to New Jersey, and that's where we had mall life. And trying to think if there was a Sbarro, because we actually, in our mall, we actually had a really good pizza place in the lower level of our mall that was like really, really good. And I can't remember if there was a Sbarro in there or not. There had to be, but
Damn, I
I
wish
didn't
I
think
had the same, man. I've been like in the Westchester mall scene, man. It was Sbarro, that's for sure, dude. There wasn't no like, anyone like local doing pizza. It would have caught so much attention, dude.
dude, they just put a casino in our mall here. Like they took out a JCPenney and turned it into a casino. And I'm like, I want to put a location right outside the doors because we would crush with slices right outside of
Absolutely.
the casino.
Dude, there's no better way to get like a mall kiosk, dude. You should just make them in the parking lot and just like get a kiosk and like
Oh
pipe
my
them
gosh,
in,
yeah.
dude, and sell that way.
It's the funniest thing you'll ever see. Again, it was a JCPenney and now it's a casino, like a full-fledged casino
I talk about
at
being
the
like
at the mall.
the staple of the end of the mall. Wow, man, that's crazy.
That's Western Pennsylvania for you.
I don't know how I pivot off of that, but I'm gonna try. So I'll give you two. I'm just shocked by that. That's amazing, man. So last two, real quick on them. So frozen pizza in general. This article is out of Tasting Table. Simple way to freeze pizza dough so you always have it on hand. What are your thoughts in general on like people buying store made doughs or that are pre done, or is it worth it to make your own pizza dough and then freeze it? Or is the freezing component something that's going to turn negative or turn sour for you?
I think if you're making it yourself and freezing it for home use, I think it's fine. I think for a pizzeria to be buying like a frozen mass-produced dough ball is not fine. So I guess I have mixed reviews on this, but I would say again, if you're at home and you make your own dough to begin with, and you're just storing it for later use, like freeze it, totally freeze it. I froze my dough before we took it to Vegas last year for Pizza Expo.
Oh, okay, all right. That's always the thing, right? Like how for anyone that's relevant to it or familiar with it for Pizza Expo, right? It's the biggest pizza expo or festival, let's call it, in the sense of for the industry though in Vegas, mostly in March, right? Hosted, and so there's a lot of competitions and events there, and so the idea of like people competing and doing their pizzas there in different categories, and it's like everyone's flying from all over to Las Vegas, and it's like, what do I do with my dough to get it there? I think we are going to need to do a highlight on that coming up as we get closer to it, of like what is the most unique ways people transport their dough to Expo.
Oh, I totally got stopped by TSA because of it. They're like, "What is this?" I'm like, "It's frozen dough balls." They're like, "Oh, okay, you can go ahead." But like, they did like a full search on my bag because of my frozen dough.
All right, dude. Listen, final one, real quick. This is in the category of is it pizza? What is pizza to you? So I'll put this as like pizza adjacent, in my opinion. This is a pizza monkey bread recipe, and this one's from therecipecritic.com. I'm not gonna lie, like this one looks pretty good to me, but I don't know. What do you? And is it pizza?
I
First thoughts on
I'd
it,
eat
on
it.
how it looks, and separately, is it pizza?
Based on just the first glance that I just took just now for the first time, I would say no.
All right.
But I'd eat it.
What, Sean? What makes a pizza? What's the requirement for a pizza to be pizza to you? Because there's so many things that come up here in the headlines, right? That are like pizza this, pizza that.
Now I'm going to completely contradict myself, right? Because others have said these exact words. Pizza is flat bread, right? With groupings of condiments and things like that on top of it, right? So who's to say that a flat bread versus a monkey bread? But again, based on looks, it didn't look like a pizza. But now, based on the criteria of what pizza is, I would have to say that it is a pizza.
All right. Yeah, it's fair. It's a tough one, right? It's like, does it need a bread
it's
item?
Bread, yeah, it's bread, sauce, and cheese, right? It's like that's a conundrum.
Dude, it is. It's a tough one. Especially we ask all the time, like, what is pizza? There's so many articles that come out there with like pizza this, right? Because it's like a headline grabber, right? And it's like I'm like, that's lasagna, guys, and they're like, no, it's pizza lasagna, and you're like, oh, okay, I don't really know about that one, but sure.
Right, but if I slap sauce and just melted mozzarella on a hoagie roll, like that's not a pizza. But if it's cut in half and cooked this way, it's a French bread pizza. Then it's a,
Absolutely.
then it's a pizza, you know. But if I make it a
Also,
sandwich, then it's a
also one of my childhood favorites of going to like a play date at someone's house, French bread pizza. Ah, man, dude,
Stouffer's.
bring it. Stouffer's French bread pizza, exactly.
Those little triangle pepperonis. Those are the best.
What do you do for pepperonis?
Like I use like what brand do I use?
No,
I use
no,
the
no. Style of like. Do you do cup and char style? You flat
yeah.
style? What are we like?
Yeah, we do small millimeter cup and char. So we use the Itzo 38 millimeter. I'm very public with what we use.
Oh, yeah.
38 millimeter cup and char. But there's two different kinds that you can get. There's the cup and char that gets like black around the edges, and then there's
Yep.
one that you can get that just kind of caramelizes around the edges. So we go with the one that just kind of caramelizes. It doesn't get like black.
Oh, interesting. Okay. It's one of those things that I feel like are tough. I think a lot of people, especially at home, are making pizza. Right, you're buying supermarket pepperoni for the most part. And most of the time, I don't think you're slicing it. Right, you're going to probably buy a bagged one. So there's
Right.
a main brand cup and char out there that I've tried before, and I'm not a fan of it. So, but I'm always intrigued for when people do it in the restaurant. Cup and char is amazing.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I've had places that use a flat and it's good, but a cup and char is always going to be like, the one.
The one, and it's charred, not burnt, right? So it's fine.
Exactly. full circle.
All right. Well, listen, Sean, man, listen. I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight. Where can everyone find you across social media in general?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a tricky one. So our Instagram is a slice of New York pizza, but it's got underscores in between each word. And then on Facebook, just type in a slice of New York and or a slice of New York pizza. It'll come right up. We're the one with the red logo. You can, if you're on like the internet typing it in, you can type in like facebook.com/the real New York pizza, and it should come right to us.
Oh, okay. All right. Awesome. Preferred platform though for you, Facebook, Instagram, one of the two where people kind of communicate.
Yeah, Facebook, I would say I'm the most active on. I'm trying to grow our Instagram slowly but surely, but we're not seeing the growth as quickly as we got on Facebook. Even through some pineapple controversy that went viral, we still didn't get the followers we were hoping for.
I mean, I will encourage everyone definitely to go on and check you out just for the sheer sense to be able to see the pineapple video. It is amazing. Listen, guys, on that note, Sean, thanks again for coming tonight, guys. For everyone else, guys, appreciate everyone for tuning in. Check us out. Please like and subscribe our videos. Check out I Need Pizza Club on YouTube for all of our content, and check us back next week for another episode. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Will. Take it easy. Thanks for having me.
See ya.